So here we are, finally a new Halo Infinite. I've spent the last couple of weeks extensively playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I think it's time for a review. Just a disclaimer, I'm not great at Halo's multiplayer. I'm not pretending to be. My thoughts come from somebody who isn't a pro, but come from somebody who just enjoys playing the game online. I mean, I only ranked gold during ranking placements. I am going to be completely honest with my thoughts playing this game. And part of that honesty means I'm going to have to be a little hard on elements of this game. I love Halo. I have many fond memories playing Halo at Dennis's and other friends' houses growing up. And while Halo Infinite does a lot well, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. But I think there's enough little things that keep the overall multiplayer experience from being a great game. Things I don't think people are really pointing out. I can already see some of the comments typing away, but it's only a beta. It's not fair to judge it this harshly. Look, if when the full Halo Infinite releases and the multiplayer is drastically different than how I describe it now, I will gladly re-review it and retitle this video as a beta impressions video. But the game is mere weeks away from release. I don't see it changing much before release. I feel the term beta is being used as a means to test out servers and systems before release. A soft launch, if you will. I don't think the final product is going to be very different than what we're seeing now. I will say that Halo Infinite is the best Halo multiplayer experience that I've had in a long time, in terms of gameplay mechanics and feel and overall fun factor. I like Halo Infinite much more than I liked Halo 4 and 5, and honestly in a lot of ways I like it more than Halo Reach too. If I had to rank my favorite Halo multiplayer experiences, I'd probably rank it something like this, with Halo 3 still being my favorite multiplayer and Halo 4 being my least favorite. Halo Infinite does a lot of things right. There aren't any loadouts, there aren't any ret cards, there aren't Spartan abilities. These are all great things. The gameplay is back to having even starts. There's an emphasis on utilizing the sandbox again. Enhanced mobility options like the thrusters and the grappling hook are tied to limited use pickups, eliminating much of the negative impact enhanced mobility and Spartan abilities had on vehicle use, map design, pacing, and other elements of the sandbox from Reach 4 and 5. Clamber animation is vastly toned down, and while it still exists and isn't perfect, Sprint is vastly toned down as well. All these things contribute to an overall better feeling game, a game which feels more like Halo instead of some of the other movement shooters Halo 5 was trying to emulate. And I think that's why so many people have been so hyped and positive with Halo Infinite. We finally got a good Halo multiplayer experience. But I feel like a lot of people are overlooking some of the negatives and ignoring some of the details because of it. I still don't think the issue of Sprint is completely fixed. Sprint is definitely toned down, you can run indefinitely, heal while sprinting, and can snap back to firing much quicker. There's less of this cat and mouse run or gun versus run and gun feel in this game. And some of the maps like Aquarius or Recharge are smaller classic style Halo feeling maps that don't feel all stretched out to compensate for Sprint. But Sprint still exists nonetheless, making its decreased speed feel more like a compromise than anything else. But I will gladly take this compromise over how Sprint mechanically worked in the past. I do appreciate that the movement as a whole feels more like Halo 2 or 3 over 4 and 5. You are a little more weighty, your jumping is floatier again. Some other positives, shooting feels really good. Aiming is responsive. I didn't notice any reticle bloom. I felt that there was ample room to really zero in on how sensitive I wanted aiming to be with the mouse and keyboard. Time to kill feels pretty much perfect to me, very similar to that in Halo 3. Overall pacing of this game is very good. It feels like Halo and not like Call of Duty or something. I'm kind of mixed on the guns. I'd say I'm like half and half with them. I like a lot of the tweaks made to classic guns like the assault rifle and pistol, but others I don't really like as much. One thing I noticed was how different all the guns sounded from past games. The classic gun sounds are iconic, and I don't really love how they changed them. They're not bad, don't get me wrong, but they're not the same. I wouldn't say that change is negative per se, like I'm not docking from the game because of it, that's just a subjective preference. Every weapon sound and even melee have this weighty, low-end thunk to them. The assault rifle is more accurate than in past games, making it a better long-range weapon than previously would have been used for, but I still feel like its use is differentiated enough from other far-range guns like the battle rifle, for example, to make using the various guns fun and viable. I also really like the commando, and I think the new pistol, the Sidekick, is great and fun to use, and honestly feels closest to the Halo 1 pistol than we've had in a long time. I especially like to use it as a quick swap weapon to get kills after I break shields with another weapon. The Ravager is this weird AoE gun that you charge up for effectiveness. It leaves this residue on the ground that damages people standing on it. I actually think it could be useful for getting enemies off capture points, though I don't think it would be very useful in a firefight. Some of the other new guns or gun changes haven't really resonated with me though. Covenant guns in general feel kind of weak to me. The plasma pistol is pretty useless aside from breaking shields. I also don't like the pulse carbine at all. I can't really find a use for it. It's slow and inaccurate long range. The Mangler is a poor man's Mauler. It's a fine gun, I don't hate it, but I just wish they would have stuck with the Mauler instead. The Needler feels a little off to me, though I can't really pinpoint why. I also don't really like the Bulldog as much as the old shotgun and miss the pump action. The Gravity Hammer is still missing gravity effects. The gunplay is still really fun and I enjoy the sandbox. I'm glad the Spanker is back, but I don't love every new gun. And I find it weird that so many iconic guns are missing. There's no Brute Shot, Plasma Rifle, Fuel Rod Cannon, or Spartan Laser. I also haven't noticed many turrets or weapons like the Missile Pod. There aren't any Promethean weapons in this, which points to the Prometheans not returning in the story either, so that begs the question, what happened to them? 343 spent 2 games building them into the story and lore in Halo just to drop them, and that's weird to me. I love that they incorporated some new guns. New weapons are necessary to keep a new entry in a game interesting. And I do like some of the new guns, like the Shock Rifle, Skewer, and Disruptor are all cool and fun weapons. The Skewer especially is a great addition as an anti-vehicle weapon, and I agree it's more balanced than the Spartan Laser was. But for other guns like the Bulldog and especially the Mangler, I wish they would have kept the more iconic weapon. I mean, the Mangler looks almost identical to the Mauler. The modes are all fun. I like all of them, though I wish you could pick which mode you were going to play. Right now, it's completely random. I'm hoping that it's just so 343 could stress test the servers out. Like, I'm sure the majority of people would just play Slayer all the time, so they made it randomized for the beta to test all the different game modes out. But if this isn't changed for when the full game releases, this is going to be a big problem. Sometimes I just want to play Slayer. I don't want to focus on an objective. We should be given that option. I like most of the maps too, though I wish you could vote on which map you were going to be playing on. It's also missing some classic game modes like Infection, and you can't instance into a free-for-all mode, so if you want to play free-for-all, you need to make your own custom lobbies. They need to add free-for-all matchmaking. Here's where I start to get kind of negative though. There are a lot of little details that add up. Nothing that on their own ruins the game, nothing that makes it a horrible experience, but enough little things that drag Halo Infinite down a little, keeping a good game from being a great game. First and foremost, there is no blood. 343 went for a T rating again for some unknown reason, and there's no blood. I don't prefer that. I like blood in my Halo. Bring back blood. You also can't play as elites. As someone who prefers to play as elites, this sucks. Bring back playable elites. There's no dual wielding. Dual wielding became a staple of Halo with Halo 2 and 3. It was something that was part of Halo's identity, and it has been an element missing for way too long. Bring back dual wielding. The constant talking annoys the fuck out of me. I wish I could turn these AIs off. I like the announcer, keep him there, but I don't want to listen to the AI constantly talk. I also don't want to hear the Spartans talking all the time. There's an option to turn off Spartan chatter, but only affects your Spartan. Let me turn off all Spartan chatter and the AIs, please.
Stronghold Bravo is ours.
Your team's scoring.
Targets are over there.
The AI's talking also leads into an overall issue of Halo Infinite being a more casual experience. The AI are constantly announcing things like weapon spawn timers. Hell, you can even see weapon spawn visually with indicators on your HUD. This takes away the need for any situational awareness. You don't need to think about weapon spawns anymore, or learn a map to learn weapon spawn locations. The game just tells you, spoon feeds you weapon spawn information. They remove friendly fire, so there's nothing to stop you from just spamming rockets or grenades in a crowded hallway, as you don't need to worry about killing your allies anymore. It just completely removes an element of spatial strategy and makes the game much more forgiving and less strategic as a whole. You can also just see what weapons everyone is getting kills with, taking away a lot of the surprise from combat encounters. There are also some critiques about the custom game mode and matchmaking capabilities of Halo Infinite. The Actman has been really vocal about it on his social media platforms, and I'm going to link his video talking about Halo Infinite in the description below. He goes into it a lot better than I will be able to, as I don't really play custom game modes that often. You can only hold 2 grenade types at a time, instead of being able to hold all 4 at once. You can't chat with your opponents at all. Chat is locked exclusively to your teammates. That's so fucking lame to me. I don't really trash talk in games, but I can't even tell the opponent GG because someone over at 343 is worried about people getting offended in chat. Total boomer moment, but I think interaction with your opponent is such an important and integral part of the online gaming experience. Whether it's simply social, saying GG, or even, yes, full-blown trash talking. Not being able to do that just feels so sterile and sanitized and kid-friendly, and I fucking hate it. I don't want a safe Xbox Live experience. I want the experience where some 12-year-old is telling me that he fucked your mom. Again, toxicity aside, I can't even tell the opponent GG after a match, and that's fucking stupid. I much prefer the traditional red versus blue color conventions of old Halo compared to the customizable outline thing Halo Infinite does. It took me a long time to get used to it. I still get confused sometimes when an enemy is the same color as my ally outline color. It just creates confusion and problems trying to fix something that was never an issue. Like my Spartan is purple, so I made my ally outline purple. But when an enemy Spartan also has purple armor, I get confused sometimes. I know they made it this way so people could show off their personal Spartan customization, but the customization options and progression system are terrible. The Master Chief Collection honestly has one of the best customization and progression systems I've seen in a game. You get a bunch of options from the get-go, colors, emblems, even some armor types, and then you can unlock the rest by playing the game and earning experience. The events never expire, and you can get whatever armors you want per tier. There's also personal player ranks and leveling, always pushing you forward. It's great. Infinite has none of that. There aren't any personal ranks to level up. All the leveling is for the battle pass. The game doesn't even keep track of your stats or medals. You get one base armor type and a small handful of colors to pick from, and that's it. You need to pay for everything else, either paying for skins directly or paying for the battle pass. The battle passes level up so slowly. As the majority of experience is tied to completing challenges, you don't get experience from medals or kills or winning like you did in the Master Chief Collection. But the challenges distract from actually playing the match, so you can either ignore the challenges and focus on the match, meaning you're missing out on experience, or you can complete the challenges to get more experience but risk underperforming in the match because you're focused on challenges instead. It's a completely stupid system. Even the quote-unquote free skin leveling barely gives you anything, takes forever to unlock, and are incredibly stretched apart, which 100% contradicts what 343 said prior to launch.
The body of customization content that we have on day one ensures that there will be millions of customization combinations for Spartans on the battlefield. Coatings offer us a unique opportunity to craft some hyper-polished looks and let you express yourselves in ways you've never been able to before. FootedGhost, we're coming at this from a player-first mentality. All of these rewards are single source, so you're never going to be confused about where things come from. If you can unlock something in the Battle Pass, we're not going to let any other players circumvent that by purchasing it out of the storefront.
A lot of our stuff is unlocked through playing the game and only through playing the game.
This entire system is purposely designed to be slow and tedious to encourage you to pay for boosts so you can unlock skins quicker. It's mobile game bullshit snuck into Halo, and it's terrible. I know it's a free-to-play game, but considering past Halos, you paid $60, got a full single-player experience, and a full multiplayer experience with personal progression systems and stats, and unlocks simply for playing. With Infinite, the $60 is only for campaign, and the free multiplayer is filled with microtransactions and a crappy progression system. I don't think that's the best model. Infinite being free isn't an excuse for mobile game bullshit. Sorry. And I know that even though the campaign is $60, the majority of people are going to be playing via Game Pass. I'm one of those people. I know 343 need to make money somehow, but the system they have in place isn't very good, especially compared to how great they executed progression in the Master Chief Collection. As it functions currently, I feel like a good compromise would be that anyone who purchases the campaign gets the battle passes for free, with free-to-play players needing to pay for battle passes individually. Personally, the only way that I will spend money on cosmetics for this game is if they collaborate with id to give us Doom-inspired armor. Though if the campaign is good, I will gladly purchase it even though I plan to initially play it with Game Pass, but that's another issue entirely. There's a video by FootedGhost where he goes into the microtransactions and bad armor progression system in the game, even digging into the free armor battle pass. It's definitely worth watching, and I'm going to link it in the description below. I also have some weird performance issues when playing Halo Infinite, issues that I don't really experience in other games. For example, the game doesn't boot up right away when I click play. Every other game on the Xbox app on PC boots up immediately. Here, for example, I fire up Halo Wars 2 with no problem. But Halo Infinite doesn't start when I click play. The blue wheel spins and nothing happens, no matter how long I wait. I need to continuously click on it to boot it up, just mash the play button, and eventually it will boot up, but it starts a bunch of instances at the same time, so I need to close all of them. It's a real annoyance. Also, I have a lot of connection issues while trying to play. Once I'm in a match, it's fine. I've never been booted or dropped from a match that I was in the middle of, but getting into matches can sometimes be a chore. I'm constantly losing connections from servers or lobbies. It's fucking irritating when I have like an hour to game before work and I just can't get into a match. Halo Infinite is a good multiplayer experience that just has some small things that keep it from being great. It's a lot of fun, and a huge improvement over the last few Halo outings. I'm still really enjoying playing Halo Infinite, and I can see myself playing it for a while, especially since my friends all really like it. We'll see how long my personal long-term investment in Halo Infinite's multiplayer goes. I still don't see it fully taking me away from games like Quake or Splitgate, or even the Master Chief Collection, as I still kind of prefer Halo 2 and 3 to it. Still, I'm glad we got a good Halo again, and Infinite is a huge improvement over Halo 4 and 5. Even though I have some nitpicks and gripes, it's only because I care. I think 343 have finally found their stride with this one, and with some tweaks, especially to the Battle Pass, I think the Halo experience is on track to being something amazing once again. And that's it for my thoughts on the Halo Infinite multiplayer. Please like and subscribe if you like the video, it helps us out a lot. I will be reviewing the Halo single player separately once that launches.